Hi, my name is Byron Wesley Jr., and I'm virtually alongside my group members Jamisha Williams, Tiffany Welford, Valencia Wilson, and Ariel Williams. And today, we are here to discuss our program, Stimulating Female Minds. Now, before we begin, we must start with a brief introduction. Unfortunately, men disproportionately go into STEM fields more than women do. 72% of men go into STEM fields, while only 28% of women go into STEM fields. That's approximately one out of every four STEM workers. That is utterly ridiculous. Another ridiculous fact is the fact that women in STEM make 89 cents for every dollar men make. We have created a program that is focused on introducing more females to STEM. Our belief is that females are just simply not exposed to STEM and STEM related fields. So what we decided to do was that we decided to come up with a year-round program divided into four segments. Each segment represents a letter in the acronym STEM. The first quarter will be science. The second quarter will be technology. The third quarter will be engineering, and the fourth quarter will be mathematics. This program will be funded primarily by grants that the school has applied for, and it will be catered towards middle school students. Now, without further ado, I must introduce you to our science program coordinator, Miss Jamisha Williams.
Stimulating Females in Science. Welcome everyone, I am Jamisha Williams and I will be presenting the science portion of the Stimulating Females Minds in the STEM field program. Science. What exactly is science? Science can be thought of as the body of knowledge, which are the things that we already discovered and the things we naturally know as humans. It can be also described as the process of acquiring new knowledge through observations and experimentation. This is through testing and hypothesizing, and this is something that scientists do daily. And this is how science is a forever growing field. Science is a way of discovering what's in the universe and how those things work today, how they worked in the past, and how they will likely work in the future. The knowledge generated by science is very powerful and reliable. It can be used to develop new technologies, treat diseases, and deal with many other sorts of problems. People all over the world participate in the process of science, including women, not only males, but including females as well. Branches of science. There are different fields that females can go into when it comes to the medical field or science, point blank, period. And I feel as if expressing the branches of science to these younger females will show them that there are different fields in science that are out there for them to go into, and that it's not only a masculine field, but females can do the job as well, such as meteorology, which is the study of weather, ecology, the study of the environment. Maybe you like trees, maybe you like the nature, physics, study of law, geology, the study of earth, rocks, genetics, the study of traits, biology, the study of living things, which consists of botany, plants, zoology, animals, astronomy, which is the study of space, chemistry, the study of chemical reactions, and oceanography, which is the study of the ocean. Because women do not get exposed as much to the science field when it comes to STEM, I felt as if the young women should do a stimulated science fair project. The young women will be challenged to explore their scientific minds with creating a science fair project. The students will research different projects to create their own style of creations. For example, they can do a baking soda and vinegar volcano. Maybe they want to do a lemon battery or a skittle effect. Whichever that they find is interesting and they find a lot of research on, they can do their science fair project on as well. Second, they will make a guess called a hypothesis about their experiment, and they will have to perform their experiment and state their purpose. They will have to write their daily procedures, dates, data, observation, and results into a log or journal. They will have to show their observation and results of their experiment with a chart or a graph. They will also have to take pictures or do drawings within their experiment. And students will have to print out a poster board pertaining to their project. This will be a 2-week project, and when it's time to present to their peers, there will be a first, second, and third place winner. After the 2 weeks of doing the science fair project, students will be going to the McWayne Center which is located in Birmingham, Alabama. So women typically do not have individuals to push them in the STEM field or women in the field to look up to and grasp the experience. Therefore, I have chosen to sponsor a field trip for the female scholars to get the experience of what science is like, as well as the interest in going into the STEM field. The McWane Center offers a mission of spark wonders and curiosity about our worlds through hand-on science. The McWane Center not only just focus on science, but they focus on inspiring children through science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And the McWane Center utilizes unique exhibits and hands-on education experiments and programs as well. And I feel as if I should take the females to the McWane Science Center, therefore they can have hands-on experience. They can get exposure to the field and they can actually get to see what they like to do. So I feel like this would be a great field trip to take the female scholars on so they can get exposure into the STEM field, whether it's technology, mathematics, or engineering. Females can do it all. Females are very powerful, and we have to push the females into the STEM field. This is a short clip about the McWane Science Center. There are many historical women in the STEM field, but in the science field particularly, you see that men get acknowledged for inventing things or coming up with cures to diseases and things like that. But there are different and there are many historical women. While I was doing this research, I've learned a lot of women that had an impact in the science field in STEM. One of the women that stood out to me was Elizabeth Blackwell. She became the first woman in America to receive a Doctor of Medicine. She spent her life championing medical education for women and careers for women in medicine. She established the New York Infirmary of Women and Children in 1857 and published a number of widely respected books on the topic of medicine and the professions that women can go into in the STEM field. Next, we have Nettie Stevens. Nettie Stevens attended Stanford University in 1896, earning a bachelor's degree in 1899 and a master's degree in 1900, both in biology. And then she pursued a doctorate in biology as well. Her investigations led to her preceding her discovery of the X and Y chromosome. I'm a biology major myself, and I did not know that Nettie Stevens was the person who discovered the X and Y chromosome herself. Men typically get credit and acknowledgement for the things they do. Women typically do not get the credit that they deserve. Establishing the first film link between characteristics in a particular chromosome as well. And there are multiple historical women in the STEM field that has made a difference in this world, that has gotten us to the point that we are at now as a new generation and new generations to come along. There are women in this world that made changes in the STEM field that should get acknowledged and will get acknowledged. As long as women start to come together and push each other in these types of fields.
Hello, I'm Tiffany Welford. I'm a senior chemistry major with a concentration in secondary education, and I will be presenting Stimulating Females in Technology. So, what is technology? Technology is the sum of techniques, skills, methods, and processes used in the production of goods or services or in the accomplishment of objectives such as scientific investigation. Technology can basically be boiled down to the promotion or development of information exchange that helps enhance the quality of life. So, the There are several types of technology, and they can be broken down into several categories: being mechanical, electronic, industrial, manufacturing, medical, and communications. So some women inventors that have helped contribute to modern day technology that we use today are Grace Hooper. She was an American computer scientist, and she created the first user-friendly business computer software program, which we use today in Microsoft Word. Maria Beasley, she was an entrepreneur and inventor, and she was best known for her baromaking mechanics, and she also made improvements to the life raft. Kathleen Burr was an American physicist and chemist, known for her work in surface chemistry, but in particular for her invention of invisible or non-reflective glass. So the glass that we use in eyeglasses today. So thank you to Kathleen. Hedy Lamarr, she was a co-inventor of the early version of the frequency hopping speed spectrum communication, and that's what we use today in Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. So some facts on women in technology. Prior to 1965, female inventors only made up 2 to 3% of the population, and after 2017, they make up 31%. And the United States of America was ranked third in the world for having the most female inventors. Sarah E. Good became the first African American woman to be granted a patent for her invention of the folding bed, cabinet bed in 1885. Women in Tech is an international organization with Women in Tech is an international organization with the mission to close the gender gap and help women embrace technology. They aim to educate, equip, and empower women and girls with necessary skills and confidence to succeed in STEM career fields. So after weeks of researching different categories of technology and looking at some women inventors that helped contribute to modern day technology, these ladies will be presented with the Principle of Change project. So these bright young inventors will be tasked with forming teams so they can create a new invention that will be presented at the end of the program. These ladies will be placed in teams based on the category that they pick for the project. So after researching different topics in technology, they'll be able to narrow down to what category they want to work on. So the roles will be assigned and designated. Project B will be selected. The invention must be an original creation and be relevant to modern day technology. The presentation will be presented after 3 weeks. So they have 3 weeks to work on this project. The presentation must include a PowerPoint, physical copy of the invention, and a portfolio from each school. So I have listed side by side project resources that would help with the forming of hypotheses, helping with the forming of portfolios. I have linked CNN so they can take a look at any modern day things such as the pandemic that were going on and see if they were doing the medical category, they would of course be coming up with an invention to help with the pandemic. And I've also listed a link to a kind of visual articles of some female inventors and their struggles and how they go about their field in technology, and it's just a great link for anybody to watch as well. So lastly, I have linked a TED Talk video for creating a legacy for women in technology. I hope you enjoy. Thank you for your time.
Hello. So by this time, you should have learned about stimulating female minds in science. You should have also learned about stimulating female minds in technology. And now we'll be learning about stimulating female minds in engineering. Now, some of you all may be like, what is engineering? I've never heard of engineering. That's totally fine because we're going to get into what engineering is and how to become an engineer. So, what is engineering? Engineering is the application of science and math to solve different problems. Engineers figure out how things work and find practical uses for scientific discoveries. There's so many ways that this can be applied to things in life. There's so many aspects of life in which this is applied to, and there's so many fields of engineering that there are, and we're going to get into that. Engineers design, evaluate, develop, test, modify, install, inspect, and maintain a wide variety of products and systems. Again, this is a very broad definition because there's just so many different ways that engineering is executed within the world. So I have a diagram right here to the side, and these are just a few of the main parts of engineering, fields of engineering that there are. There's so many subcategories of more specialized things regarding these fields, but here's just a few, just to kind of scratch the surface and kind of give you an idea of what the main categories are. So there's chemical engineering, there's mechanical engineering, there is electronical engineering, there's electrical engineering, there's informational technology engineering, there's civil engineering, and there's also computer science engineering. And that's actually what my dad does. I know a lot of people that are in IT as well. So that's a more simple way of elaborating on that. Now, before we get into more about these different parts of engineering, I don't want you all to be scared. I don't want you to be scared off by, oh, that sounds complex, or, oh, whenever you think of an engineer, you may not think of a female, but you as a young female woman, you are just as capable as doing anything that any male can do. Okay, so some of the myths that are in place are that women aren't strong enough to be engineers. That's highly inaccurate. Just because I'm a female, that doesn't mean that I'm weak-minded. It doesn't mean that I'm lazy. It doesn't mean I'm incapable mentally of accomplishing the same thing that a man is. So that's highly inaccurate. Do not let anyone tell you that you're not strong enough to be an engineer. Number 2, to be an engineer, you have to get your hands dirty, literally. And that's highly inaccurate. Again, like I just said, there's so many different kinds of engineers. And some of those, like, computer software engineer or spacecraft design, all different types of engineers that do not require you to physically do things, which is we kind of refer to as manual labor with your hands. Obviously you'll be using your hands to write and type and do all this other stuff, but there's nothing that necessarily requires for you to do strenuous manual labor, that can hinder you from accomplishing your goal. And number 3, women are too timid to be engineers. The field of engineering is very intimidating. But there's plenty of strong women who are in the field now and who will continue to be in the field in the future, such as some of you all, who will speak up, who will stand for themselves and who will be loud in their research findings, in their projects. They will not be afraid to share their thoughts and professional opinions on things. So number 4, women aren't as good at science, technology, or mathematics. That is completely inaccurate. There is no biological makeup that makes one person smarter than the other. It doesn't mean that a male is going to be automatically smarter than a female just because it's male. There's no research that even supports that statement. So don't ever let anyone tell you that you can't be as good in science, technology, or mathematics because you're a female. That's just highly inaccurate. It's all about the time you put in, the work you put in, and your abilities as an individual. Number 5, you can't be an engineer and raise a family. Again, this is another highly inaccurate thing. As females, sometimes we do worry about, that life of being a wife and having children and whatnot, but you can literally do anything that you put your mind to. If you have a strong support system behind you, you may not have a husband, but if you have great parents, great grandparents, great friends, you know, people who are there to support you, to support your kids that you may have. And even if you do have a husband, you know, you'll have a husband that's there to be supporting you throughout everything too. You know, it's a partnership. So that just makes everything even more easier. But don't ever let anyone tell you that you can't raise a family and be an engineer. That's just completely inaccurate. It's all about support. It's all about time management. And if you want something, you'll go get it and you'll get it done, regardless of what the circumstances are. And myth number 6, women can't reach top jobs in engineering. Again, this is a very male-dominated field. So, yes, there are barriers to break, but we have women that are breaking so many barriers right now in the field. And by the time you all do end up entering the field, it'll be a little bit easier for you all. But regardless of where you're at, it's all about shining. It's all about being that strong woman who's making pathways, who's making, you know, progress. I mean, if you are doing everything that you're supposed to do, if you're excelling in your job, making awesome creations, you just have to be so undeniable that nobody can hold you back, you know. But with this, thankfully, with this progressive movement of the nation and this wave that we're on, hopefully it won't be as hard for you all as it has been for some of the women who have kind of paved the way previously and who are doing it now. Some of the awesome women that have paved the way and who are in the middle of the industry right now is Mary Barra. She is the chairman and CEO for General Motors Company, which is one of the largest auto companies that there are. And she's the first female CEO and the first woman to lead any major automaker in history. There's also Christina Koch. She is an astronaut for NASA, and she actually broke the record for the longest single spaceflight by a woman, and she also took part in the first all-female spacewalk in October 2019. How awesome is that? There is also Katie Weimer. She is Vice President of the Medical Devices and Healthcare 3D Systems. She is actually revolutionizing healthcare by combining powerful digital workflows with the ability to create templates, guides, instruments, and even implants using 3D printing technology. How cool is that? There's so many different avenues in which you can create and be a part of when it comes to engineering. It's not a one-dimensional thing. All 3 of the women that I just mentioned are in 3 very different fields, but they are being very impactful. And here I have a video. This is a TED Talk. Unfortunately, with STEMulating, with the free subscription, there was like a minute of the video that I want to play, but with the free subscription that I have, I'm actually unable to play that because you wouldn't get the sound, the volume from my laptop in the recording. But this is a very impactful TED Talk that this young female engineer completed, and she spoke on her journeys of becoming an engineer, how she felt, you know, whenever she thought of an engineer, she thought of a white male, you know, but it's not just that. She realized that it's not just that, and that we need more young female women in the industry because she's seen firsthand how the industry can be, and she's seen firsthand that women are just as capable as doing the same thing, if not more, than males are. And I think it's completely awesome. She did a great job of presenting this, and I really cannot wait for the young women in this program to evaluate it. So we're just scratching the surface with some of the things that I presented to you all, but I actually want you all, for like the end of this block period of learning about all of this, I actually want you all to complete a project. It's going to be called Exploring Engineering Pathways Project. You young women will be tasked with researching the type of engineering that piques your interest the most. So if you're interested in me, if I were to go into engineering, I probably would do something like computer science, just because my father has kind of introduced me to it, and I actually find it really intriguing. So I probably would do something like computer science. So in this project, it can be a slideshow, it can be a poster board, or it can be a 3-dimensional presentation. So the things that I want that to be included in your project, no matter whether it's a slideshow, no matter whether it's a poster board or a three-dimensional presentation, I want you all to include a full title and definition of the type of engineering that you are highly interested in, that you've chosen to do. I want you to find an influential female in that field of engineering, and I want you to create a thorough timeline on how you will accomplish becoming an engineer. And on this timeline, I want you to incorporate applying for college, going to college, declaring your major, and, different things like that. And I also want you to insert 2 to 3 interesting facts about the particular field that you've chosen to do. And that is all for this part of STEM.
Hello, my name is Ariel Williams, and I am the teacher of the girls' mathematics class. In our STEM program for our Stimulus ladies, we want them to not only know the material in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, but we want them to know what women in that field can do and the positivity and moments that it can have towards the girls, toward the ladies. In each lesson of our mathematical session, we're going to have stages. We're going to split each of our lessons into 1 week. So since we only see each other twice a week, but the last 2 weeks it'll have 2 courses in it, only because they're for the most part similar. This after school program is to tighten up the students' knowledge from what they learned in class. My course, like I said, is math, so we're just going to tighten up the loose ends, except we want to show our girls that there's different ways to make learning easier. It doesn't have to always be a chore. It can be fun in some ways. The way we want to make learning more fun is to incorporate, after learning the material, and working into positive reinforcement for them for knowing the material. After we have our lessons, we'll pass out partner worksheets, and that way the students can help each other and they can be the teachers. And in some like geometry or the linear and quadratic equations, some students can be the teacher sometime, and the ones who struggle in another subject can be the teacher in another. That way you're getting the teacher and the peer help from both sides on almost every subject that we're going to talk about. It is 4 subjects. My 4 subjects that we will be going over in our 4-week course will be the first week, geometry, second week, variable expressions, and third week, solving equations. The 4th week, we're going to put two like together. They both have to do with graphs. It's going to be our linear functions and our quadratic equations. After each one of these, we will then, after the partner worksheets are all done, the next class that will come back, it'll be more like a positive reinforcement day. Let's see who knows the work the most. We've actually been going home studying. We've been trying, and let's have a class game. The class game will be depending on whatever the topic is for the week, and there will be like little things like gift cards given out that will be given to us by our sponsors and some by me. And lastly, our ending project. This project is called Creating a Stimulating City Project. It's a city made to whatever the ladies would like to see in like an average city. If you're able to create a city, a town of your own, what would you have in it? How would your streets be? Would it be straight across, or would it be round and round? Would it be diagonal? This will have to be done on graph paper. With the graph paper, we're going to be putting our linear equations into play. So you will have to find the slope of your graph. You'll find the lowest point of your map. You will have to do that. But for the most part, I want to have fun with it, color it, and I'm going to have a good 4 weeks. And remember, ladies, math is not just adding numbers to get a solution to your equation. It's everywhere we go. It's in our shopping. It's in making sure our finances are on track. It's in cooking. Everywhere you go, whether you go in the United States or the United Kingdom, math is going to be everywhere. Numbers are going to be everywhere. It's just how creative you want to get with them and how much you want to try. This is Ariel Williams, Miss Williams. Y'all have a good night.
Now we must look at the anticipated challenges. The program will unfortunately start slow with few members because students are naturally hesitant to try and explore in new things, in new subjects. But hopefully, once we have our first program at the end of our first quarter, then the students who were hesitant to try it will be more inclined to try it because they see that the other students are having fun. We expect it to grow in the next 3 years, because we expect the program to consistently be more and more popular. Our biggest anticipated challenge will be finding teachers, because it is extremely hard to find a good teacher who is willing to undergo extra work in order to take students above and beyond and introduce them to STEM fields. If we can find good teachers like that, then we'll have a great program. Now, when popularity increases with the students, more teachers will also be willing to participate and guide the students in certain STEM fields and participate in certain programs because they see the success of the program and they would like to be a part of it and they believe they have something to contribute. Finally, funding is also a challenge that we anticipate because of the reliance of grants. Because we may be implemented in a school with a low income, we're extremely hesitant to do fundraisers and to force kids to pay for it because some students may just not be interested because of the payment barrier, because of the income barrier between getting into the program versus not getting into the program. And we don't believe that it's fair for students to have to try to fundraise or have to try and scrounge up money to pay. So we would prefer to have reliance on grants. We will evaluate our success of the program based on two factors: enthusiasm within the school and expansion of the program. Enthusiasm is based on the amount of females who seek to register or sign up in a program over a 5-year period. Like I said before, we'll have signups during or after programs, after programs at the end of each quarter, and we'll have sign up sheets throughout during the beginning of the year so that females who are interested can join. Expansion refers to partnerships and grants with different high schools and colleges over a 10-year period. We want this idea to go big. We want this idea to go. We want other high schools to partner with our middle school, and we also want other colleges and universities to see what we're doing and realize that this is a great program, and we need to invest in this program because not only are they going to help their school and their city, but they could help their country. They're guaranteed to help their community, and I believe that universities will love to get involved with that. And universities may see some benefit in recruiting. Universities may see extremely talented, smart, and capable females in STEM and decide that we should try and recruit these people from middle school and offer scholarships. That's how we would evaluate on whether that's how we would know whether or not our program has been successful. Finally, we must look at the proposed effects. As I said before, the increased exposure to STEM and STEM fields for females is goal number one. That is essential. That is what's going to happen when they go through our program. They will be exposed to and they will know whether or not they like it. If they don't like it, that's fine. But we believe that they will like it. We believe they will enjoy it and they will pursue it later on. And will also provide a fun and safe environment for females to experience with a new field. Like I said before, they get to dabble in new things, and each one of the four STEM acronym related fields. The program will grow as more events and promotions are held because it will become more popular. Some female students will look at it and decide that this looks like fun. They look like they're having a lot of fun, and I want to be part of this. So more people will be deciding to be part of it. And as I said before, our proposed effects and our measure of success would be how popular it'll be by partnering with a lot with high schools and universities for success. These are our references. These are where the statistics have come from. And I would like to thank you for your time on behalf of Ms. Williams, Ms. Jamisha Williams, Ms. Welford, Ms. Wilson, and Ms. Ariel Williams. I would like to thank you for your time, and I hope you have a wonderful day.